Hey all, hope you're doing super well. Coming at you from the backyard today. Not very often do I shoot outside my little home office, but today it's nice and I'm in the backyard. Anyway, something that's come up quite a bit for just questions and issues has been editorial on Adobe Stock. Now, this video is going to be about two things. It's going to be, first of all, about who can upload editorial. And secondly, it's going to be a little bit about some of the requirements or some of the things to think about. Since I'm doing this video, I might as well tack that on. So I'm going to start with who can upload editorial images. And this is a bit confusing. It's come up a number of times, and it's hard for people to know the rules unless they've dug into some of the written materials on Adobe Stock's website. So basically, editorial is open only to contributors who have sold 100 images from their Adobe Stock account. So until you sell 100 images, the little box that you check for uploading editorial content doesn't show up on your page. So what that basically means is you need to start building a commercial oriented portfolio first. You need to get enough assets up there that you can get 100 images sold, and once you hit that milestone, then the site opens up and you are allowed to upload editorial images. Now this is a photos related issue. As far as I'm aware at this time, there is no ability to upload editorial stock footage. It may not be the case, but I haven't sold tons of commercial stock footage, so if there's something similar, I'm not aware of it. Okay, so part two of this video, very briefly, what does Adobe want for editorial? Because each of the sites are a little bit different. With Adobe, what they don't want is editorial footage that includes recognizable people. So, if there's a face, it's a no-go. If it's from behind, it's touch and go. Often it's the size of the person in the landscape or in the cityscape or in the environment. That's a problem. Sometimes it's keeping the head out and focusing on the torso and hands with some sort of branded item like a Starbucks coffee cup. So those are the kind of things that you need to do to avoid getting rejected for recognizable people. This is actually unfortunate because a ton of editorial includes identifiable people. So hopefully they change that in the future and they allow us to upload editorial that includes individuals who are recognizable. The second thing they'll tell you is they don't want you taking photos and uploading them when they're taking in sort of events like sporting activities or things like that. Ticketed events usually that require special permission to photograph but then sell to third parties. So often these events allow you to engage in personal recreational pursuits of photography, but they don't allow you to sell. So that's another thing to avoid. The other thing they don't want is just like close focused on brand sort of logos or trademarked items. Like you wouldn't want to just like tight crop Starbucks logo. That would be rejected. They want to see it more in a environment shot and in context as it's being used. So expand your vision. Don't go in too tight on some of these editorial style images. And the other thing they don't want is for these to be digitally created assets. So you got to take photos here. You can't create these assets through a program or like Photoshop and just make up illustrations, for example. So that's basically what they don't accept. It's a little bit more ambiguous what they do accept. You'd assume that it was all editorial that didn't include those restrictions, but it can be pretty sketchy what they do or they don't take. Architecture is one area where you're going to find editorial, and they do generally take architecture, travel-related stuff, so landmarks, all those kind of things you can upload as long as they don't include identifiable people. So yeah, it's one of those things where you sort of look specifically at what they don't want or they won't accept, and then experiment with editorial more broadly and see what they get. Sometimes it's hit and miss, but all the sites are that way, so it can be really hard to sort of understand what the problem is. Sometimes it's individual reviewer based or like that. So it's just a matter of learning the ropes. Anyway, hopefully this answered some of your questions about Adobe Stock's editorial submission requirements and process. See you on the next one. Take care.